My brother, Mr. Bayo Onanduga, as the point of reference to recognize all of you and to commend you for a job well done. May I also use the opportunity to recognize the Presidential Media Corps and thank you for all the work that you're doing. In this little room, whatever happens in this house, everybody sees it. Continue the good work, well done. May I also use the opportunity to recognize the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Dr. Mariam Ismaila Kenshiro. Thank you so much for having me here. Just as Mr. Ajayi rightly said, tomorrow will be the International Women's Day of 2025. And I've been telling people that it's not only the International Women's Day, but also the International Women's Month and year, because this year we mark 30 years after the Beijing Declaration of Action. So it's a very important year for women globally. Let me start by welcoming you all to this special briefing. It is International Women's Day 2025, and for me, it is critical. It's a critical checkpoint in our journey towards gender equality. I was on air this morning on NTA, and a critical question was asked. Are we making progress towards gender equality? I took a pause, and it dawned on me that the very fact that we are still asking this question from over, both in terms of communicating progress, but also in terms of accelerating action, which is the theme for the 2025 International Women's Day. Let us ask ourselves here, are we truly making progress? For me, it's a yes. In some areas, we're moving fast enough. But if we ask ourselves, are we moving fast enough? For me, it's a no. The gains we have made, are they substantial? That remains uncertain. The hard truth is that if we can continue at our current pace, we are decades away from achieving full gender equality in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Just to be clear about the reality, it's a global challenge, as the world is off track to achieving Sustainable Development Goal 5, SDG 5 on gender equality by 2030. But as a country, we must double down on our efforts. As you're aware, this year, we also celebrate 30 years of existence of the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs as a vital institutional mechanism for the advancement of the Nigerian gender agenda. An institutional legacy of the Beijing Platform for Action, one of the most transformative global frameworks for the gender equality. Distinguished guests, members of the press, we cannot talk about progress without acknowledging those that have paved the way. As we mark this milestone, we must honor the fearless women who stood against oppression and injustice, from the pre-independence trailblazer like Chief Margaret Ebo, Chief Mrs. Fumilola Ransom Kuti, and Hajia Gambo Sawaba, to the thousands of women who laid down their lives in protests, such as the Aba Women's Riot of 1929 and the Eba Women's Revolt of 1947. We also remember the legacies of Her Excellency Dr. Mariam Abacha, who led the Nigerian delegation to the 1995 Beijing Conference, and Her Excellency Dr. Mrs. Mariam Babangida, whose Better Life program for rural women revolutionized grassroots empowerment. Their work reminds us that change is not given, it is demanded and earned through persistence and resilience. Today, I serve as the Nigerian Minister of Women Affairs. I do so with the knowledge that the ministry has come of age, standing at the forefront of policy formulation, advocacy, and institutional reforms for gender equality. Our modern headquarters may be a physical symbol of progress, but the real work lies in translating policies into action, ensuring that women, children, the vulnerable, and families have access to justice, economic empowerment, and equal opportunities. Distinguished guests, members of the press, the journey is far from over. There are 4 dimensions to the issues that continues to confront us that we are now working to address quickly. First, the legal and policy framework. While Nigeria has made significant progress in enacting gender-responsive laws, such as the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, the VAP Act of 2015, and the Child Rights Act of 2003, full implementation remains a challenge. As of today, 35 states have domesticated the VAP Act, while 34 states have adopted the Child Rights Act. A step in the right direction, but not yet enough. We need full compliance, effective enforcement, and accountability to ensure that rights enshrined in these laws are lived reality for every Nigerian woman and child. Second, economic empowerment. Women drive Nigeria's informal economy, owning 41% of micro, small, and medium enterprises. However, access to finance, markets, and digital literacy remains a barrier to scaling their businesses. More than 94% of women still lack access to formal credit despite proven ability to reinvest in their families and communities. We must close the gender financing gap, expand opportunities in trade, technology, and digital skills, and provide structured support for women entrepreneurs. Under the Nigerian for Women Project Scale Up, which we just commenced, we will be reaching a minimum of 4.5 million women nationwide to bridge the gap. The pilot phase of the Nigerian for Women project saw 450 women in the rural areas, in the grassroots, being empowered with so many cluster groups, and the investment made for this group of women was 12 million, but they saved $4.5 million. $12 million was being invested in the pilot phase in 6 states. So now we're about to commence the scale up, and about 4.5 million women will be beneficiaries. And the project is worth $500 million. It's done in collaboration with the federal government through the Ministry of Women Affairs, the state governments, and the World Bank. We also launched the Moosara initiative recently with the support of Wema Bank. As we speak today, the skill development program is ongoing, and we are targeting 500 women in the grassroots. We are looking at economic empowerment, sector by sector, because women are leading already in most of the sectors. So we'll see that we address those issues that are systematic barriers. Thirdly is the gender-based violence and social norms. Over 30% of Nigerian women aged 15 to 49 have experienced physical violence. 1 in 4 girls have been sexually abused before the age of 18. We recently witnessed the tragic death of Emric Efang in Cross River State, and Muti at Sholola in Ogun State, and the heartbreaking case of the 24-year-old Salome Adaidu, killed in Nasarawa State by her boyfriend. We also saw the case of the mother of 6, whose husband allegedly poured petrol on her and set her ablaze in Anambra State, and the women whose fingers were being chopped off by her spouse in Dede Community, Federal Capital Territory, amongst others. These are stark reminders of the urgent need to sustain the declaration of the state of emergency on gender-based violence embarked upon in 2020 by the Nigerian Governors Forum in the wake of a high number of such cases amidst the lockdown of COVID-19. These are isolated incidents, but part of a larger pattern of violence that must be decisively addressed are harmful traditional practices, such as the child marriages and the female genital mutilation. It still persists in our country today, with Nigeria ranking 3rd globally in child marriage prevalence, statistics that should alarm us all. The ministry remains unwavering in its commitment to strengthening the survivor-centered services, and we are pushing for the review of the Child Rights Act and the VAP Act, and we're creating safe spaces across the country. This is not just a women's issue, it's a national crisis that undermines our collective development. Fourth is the political representation and leadership. Women remain vastly underrepresented in decision-making spaces. In our 10th National Assembly, only 4 out of 109 senators and 17 out of 360 House of Representatives members are women. If you look at the last assembly, the 9th Assembly, we had 9 out of 109 senators. So there's a decline. This stark imbalance is not reflecting a progressive democracy. We must accelerate efforts towards political inclusion, ensuring that women have a seat at the table, not as a token, but as equal partners in governance and development. Distinguished guests and our friends in the media, acceleration action demands that we confront harsh realities facing women and girls in Nigeria today. For too long, our interventions have been largely dependent on donor funding, an approach that, while helpful, is either sustainable nor sufficient. True transformation requires national-owned investment. This is why we commend His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, who has, for the first time in the history of the ministry, significantly raised its budget This landmark decision signals a new era of government commitment to institutionalizing women's empowerment and a core pillar of national development. With these increased resources, we will prioritize the resuscitation of one of the ministry's legacy projects, the National Electronic Dashboard, launched as part of the collaboration between the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and the European Union under the Spotlight Initiative, to provide comprehensive data to help tackle gender-based violence in the November of 2022. We will expand programs on women's economic empowerment, promote digital skills acquisition for girls and boys, scale up family cohesion programs, revitalize child protection and participation, and will unlock new opportunities for women through the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFTAC, which has 2 protocols that addresses issues that concern women. We will also prioritize legislative advocacy, the economic empowerment of women, girls' education, and the fight against gender-based violence. Let me also quickly say that in a few days' time, I will lead a diverse delegation of Nigerians to the UN Commission on the Status for Women, the CSW, the 69th CSW, the largest global gathering on women's rights. Our goal is clear: to showcase Nigerians' progress, to forge stronger global partnerships, and to amplify our collective commitment to gender justice and women's economic advancement and empowerment. The task before us is immense, but I believe that with our collective will and effort, we can accelerate action for a more inclusive and equitable Nigeria. My charge to us is that let us take the opportunity of the International Women's Day as a time to strengthen our unity, determination, and unwavering commitment to tackling the legacy challenges that have held us from realizing the full potential of our Nigerian women and children. Let me end by thanking His Excellency, our leader, our father, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for prioritizing women's issues like never before. Let me also specially thank Her Excellency Senator Oluremi Tinubu, CON, for the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for the immense support and leadership we continue to enjoy in the sector. I also would like to extend my deepest appreciation to all the development partners, civil society organizations, and advocates, and every stakeholder in this space who continue to push the boundaries for gender equality and equity. To every Nigerian, woman and child, your time is now. Stand up, step forward, and claim your place in shaping Nigerians' future. I thank you all for listening. May God bless you all, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.